Bienvenidos a la Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference, Miami edition. We're back in the Magic City at the historic Fontainebleau Hotel where Frank Sinatra used to hang out, and now we're talking weed.
So in 2015, I was working for a beverage company
Right.
in Russia called Marussia Beverages, and I was their chief mixologist.
Really?
And I got to go to Moscow, and I went to the top of the FSB building and shared a dinner, and the president of Russia was there at the table because he was buddies with the oligarch who owned the company that I worked for, so called Marussia. And I made cocktails for them, and I taught at the Moscow Bar Show. And I had a copy of my book, Cannabis Cocktails, with me, and I showed it around the table, and everyone got a laugh out of it. And when I came back to the United States, within 48 hours, I was looking for another job.
Wow.
They didn't have a very good sense of humor over there in Russia about cannabis, even though I did get to smoke a joint in Red Square, which is another story for another day, and it had more to do with my employees only tattoo. But but it was fun being over there, and I taught a master class on rum. I was a rum judge for many years, and I used to come to South Miami and to Fort Lauderdale to judge Mexican Coke and a sugarcane rum or a Martinique rum agricole. I would suggest something with a little, or maybe something with funkiness. A Jamaican rum made with dunder. Yeah, and the rum from like Long Pond or Wortley Park or Money Musk.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that would be cool. But anyway, so I quit drinking, and I don't drink anymore, and I work constantly in the cannabis industry, writing for Forbes, and I cover high-end flower, and it's shown me the world, and I'm living the best life. And I wrote the book Cannabis Cocktails, Mocktails, and Tonics. Of course, that's the book that started it all, that got me into trouble. There was this magazine, I think it's called Imbibe, and they said, I'm bad and dangerous. I tend to agree.
Really?
I was on Vice. I was on Vice and on Viceland Live, and they asked me to make them a cannabis cocktail that they would feel. So I made them a CBD THC cocktail, and it unleashed the entourage effect. It had blood orange juice and barrel bourbon whiskey and 2 different types of bitters and a bottle of Pickett's ginger beer syrup, a little bit of seltzer water, and it gave it life. Fresh mint over the top, really fresh. They drank it up. They drank it up. It had 1,000 milligrams of THC in it, and they got destroyed on live TV. So that's where I get my bad and dangerous from. Because if I can do that on live TV, anyone can do anything.
Oh,
It was pretty amazing. The producer called on Monday. They all follow me on Instagram, and it's funny. And all I heard was screaming, and it was like. Threw the phone away, but they're like the first people to like what I'm doing, and everyone's proud of my success and or little I have. But what I do is self-made, and it's because of this little guy right here, and this little gnome. I had a bigger one that I used to travel with, but this is the one I'm traveling with now. So he's a little bit easier, and he's kind of like a good luck charm because life is pretty serious, and everyone works really hard to become a success at something small in life, and that's why I have a small little gnome because they pop up out of the ground and. At least in my imagination, and they make a nice, they make a question. It's like, what's this guy doing with a gnome in his hand? Who knows? What is this guy doing writing about weed for a living? Who knows? But I'm doing what I love, and I think it's important.
Man, that's amazing. 1,000 milligrams?
Yeah, in the punch. Yeah, and it was blood orange juice, so it was really good. And I roasted the blood oranges, cut them in half, and put demerara sugar on them with Angostura bitters. And broiled them in the oven for an hour at like 275 degrees, so the sugar caramelized on the grapefruits and on the oranges, blood oranges and some grapefruits to give it some real spark to it.
So
and then juice that when it gets cool.
Warren.
Yeah, man.
What's your favorite part about your life, man?
Reinvention and being the person that I've always wanted to be, but I have to pay homage to my late father who set me free and didn't leave me any money. He just left me the ability of standing on my own 2 feet and succeeding at what made me happy.
Thanks, Warren. We appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
By the way, would you be open to doing let's meet up in a kitchen?
Absolutely.
Let's do that.
Sure.
Yeah, because you're very passionate about that. You know your shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about food?
Yeah, of course, definitely.
So one of the things I do ask in my 5 questions piece for Forbes is I talk about food, and I ask people what food memories they have, and I talk about is there a type of food that you've eaten that brings a tear to your eye when you have it, and why? And if you can tap into that energy, it's usually like a mother or a grandmother who's passed, and it's the type of food that they made in the house and what it smelled like and where you were when you first remember that. And I talk about that with these CEOs of companies. I said, what food do you love? What food makes you passionate? What food allows you to dream about being young again and remember your mom or your grandmother? And do you cook this food? Who has these recipes? And are you making it so you can tap into who you were and where you come from? And I think that's really important in life, because it's not just business. Business is important enough, but this is something that's even deeper. And if we can tap into that energy of filling our stomachs with memories, it's amazing what you can accomplish in life.